got a show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. And I want to talk to people that I think are interesting. And by the way, let me do a disclaimer, because if people don't get invited, they'll be like, oh, I've been his friend. It's not that I don't think y'all interesting or nothing like that. It's just people that you work with or you see do things that, to you, they just extraordinary individuals. Again, let me repeat. It's not that I don't think somebody out there that I might know personally is not extraordinary. You are extraordinary in the eyes of the Lord and many others.
Right on.
Nah, but really, this is, and then sometimes, I guess this is really, because we don't sit down, we don't go to lunch, and I'll be honest with you, what this really is too, for so many years in my career, I've missed so many people that have come past, not past me, but that I've had a chance to work with and stuff like that, but I never took the time to really find out who they were, because I didn't care. Not in a mean way, but I was so focused on dollars, I was so focused on money, I didn't have time. Like I was just telling Mr. David over here, he's the guy behind the cameras, I just was so focused on money, I never took the time to hang out. Like, for instance, you might hang out with your friends, they might come over, watch a game, and
Absolutely.
And I told them, I ain't really cool with the idea of everybody come to my house, we're gonna hang out, and we're gonna watch TV and drink beers.
Yeah.
Now, if you come into my house and we get ready to plot a plan to make these dollars, let's do it. But if we just coming out, we just hanging out leisurely.
Yeah.
Leisure?
I mean, you gotta have a little fun, man. I know.
I didn't, but you know, and it's the way you grow up. It's the things that you see, and as I have now gotten older, this was also a part of why it was time for me to go. I wasn't enjoying I never enjoyed it. It was just I had the skills to do that. You know what I mean?
Dang. But, I mean, that is interesting. You know what I mean?
Well, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. And
it's sad.
Because you worked a hell of a career, might I say. You know what I mean?
Let me not make it, I don't want to sound like I wasn't appreciative. Yeah. I am appreciative. I was appreciative, but there was a lot of other things happening community-wise, done rapper stuff, where it takes the joy and the fun out of it, so you just always focus. You focus on protecting your family. You focus on protecting your friends. You focus on protecting the brand. You focused on your money still. Right. And again, you miss a lot. So I missed a lot. So now I'm just more aware. So when you see extraordinary people, I'm like, damn. And not, again, let me repeat, it's not to say that other people are not extraordinary in what they do.
Right.
But when I look at you, I kind of look at you and say, damn. Well, obviously, the beard game is all messed up for me, right?
Nah.
I ain't that fly and
you in there.
But you are able, and we've had this conversation before, you're able, some people can throw stuff on the wall hoping that it sticks.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody able to throw 35 things on the wall and they're all working. Like, you learned balance. Yeah. I never had balance.
For sure.
And to see a brother as young as you, TSU grad, now you in grad school, about to flip that and be done with that.
Yeah,
I've seen you with internships. I've seen you working around KTSU. You know how to do everything. Program, on air, the inner workings as it relates to sales. And then your balance. You can still find time to go out, hang out with your family, your mom. You have 2 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
I never had balance. And maybe there's a part of me that's jealous, like, damn, how does this dude do all of this whenever they need you around? Like, I'm like you just said, hey, man, I haven't slept. Your baby's sick and I hope she's better.
I appreciate it.
But you haven't slept. You still going. Yeah. I'm like, this guy, he is taking the time to... You're mashing the gas.
Maximize the 24
there you go.
Hours,
You're
man.
maximizing your 24 hours.
For sure.
So saying all that, just because somebody might, who the hell is this guy? Is he a rapper?
I know a lot of people gonna be like, who the hell is this guy?
Is he a rapper? No, he's just somebody I'm interested in. I think he has an incredible story because I think people, if I took the time to talk to David, I bet David has an interesting story. David, I might have to talk to you, man. Get the guy behind the camera in front, for real.
Yeah,
everybody has an interesting story if we take the time to sit and listen to him tell a story.
I'm super honored, man.
Well, we don't care about that.
Nah,
so let me start, because I've already run on a rant for what? Way more longer than I should have, at least 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But saying all that, y'all know who I am. But who are you?
My name is Harrison Richmond. I go by Radiorichh. It's a name that I've adopted since taking on this radio career.
Now, is that a name you gave yourself, or?
It's kind of, my last name is Richmond, so I've always, and get to the money. So Rich is kind of something that's just stuck with me. You know what I mean?
You speaking it to existence.
You speaking it to existence,
Absolutely.
for real. But honestly, going back to the nonprofit that I just started through my master's program here at TSU, rich is subjective. You know what I mean? What you may think is rich may be different to my man David or me, or you know what I mean?
So what is rich to you then?
When you
use that word, you're saying that in what way?
Like we want to debunk the mindset that being rich is materialistic versus having respect, intellectual abilities, your character, being honest and humble with yourself, your health, all of those things is things that I've considered being rich, you know what I mean? Of course, it's about the dollar at the end of the day, but if you got them five things in your life, man.
No, it's not.
Ultimately,
and that's what makes you different. That's why I'm trying to tell you why I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Because monetary riches will come as you continue to find
absolutely.
That's
what I was
bearings
gonna say.
In life.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The dollar will come.
Yeah, but you already had this other healthy stuff that most of us don't have. And here's the other reason why I think you're so interesting. Your upbringing is just like most people.
Yeah.
And not to say anything bad about anybody in your family. You can go as much into details as much as you want with that. But you were still able to say to yourself that here are the qualities that I want to have, even with the way you determined to be with the person that you're with. Like,
absolutely,
you've made some very mature decisions. My maturity was, I got to get this money.
Yeah.
And it's a sad place to be. Your richness is you're actually living every moment, because the best moments are your climb getting there.
Absolutely.
I can't remember those. I just remember I started saving money, saying I can never be broke.
Yeah.
And, life did whatever it did.
My hope is that, I will continue to live in the moment. I've never, in every job that I've had, I've confidently walked in and said what it is that I want. And one thing is that I don't want to feel like I'm at work. I want to feel like I'm at peace at whatever it is that I'm doing.
What is your job? I really don't know what your job is here, to be honest with you.
I hold a lot of titles.
Everything.
Yeah, I hold a lot of titles here at KTSU. I guess my number one job would be the assistant program director to you at the Vibe. But that goes so widespread here, being at a community radio station, a public radio station. If you have the talents, they'll definitely use you in those departments. So I do the traffic here at the station, which is all of the underwriting dollars that come through the station that need their spots played on the air. I make sure that they're scheduled in the system. Of course, we run the Music Master scheduling as well.
It's a program for folks
that don't know. That schedule the music for the playlist. And a lot of that stuff, the foundation of that came from launching a student radio station here on campus. So
KTSU 2.
Yeah, we got a radio station called KTSU 2. It's a fully functioning student radio operation here on the campus. And a couple of like-minded students, a couple of like-minded professors got together before coming to Texas Southern University. We didn't really have a radio station to play on. They were giving out radio degrees, and I can vividly remember Communications Week and the box coming. And one of the questions I asked was, hey, man, why isn't nobody from TSU there? This is before I even knew J-Mac went to TSU,
Mac was here for a very short time.
Yeah. So, I just didn't have that history. And he was like, man, a lot of people say that they want to be where I'm at, but nobody willing to work as hard. You know what I mean? And I felt him on that. And he was like, a lot of the students that come to the radio station, they're not prepared. And so I took that information and I really wanted to look into the program to figure out why weren't these students prepared? Because I wanted to be prepared. I didn't come to college thinking that I was going to be in radio. I came on a map. I really didn't plan on coming to college, If I can go back a little bit.
Yeah, I want you to.
I left my house at 15 years old, and I got a job at 15 and a half working at Al's Formalware in a warehouse.
Now, was there a reason why you left?
Yeah, me and my mom wasn't seeing eye to eye. My mom was in some tough situations and, dealing with men, and it just wasn't something me and my brother wanted to deal with type thing, you know what I mean? And
now, can I ask where your dad was during all this time?
Yeah, my dad was living his life. My dad's a good man. I can't fault him, you know what I mean?
You never do. I love that.
Yeah, he's a stellar guy. Mm-hmm. One thing for sure, like even though if he may not have been with my mom, I could always count on him or call him. You know what I mean? Even though if I wasn't living with neither one of them, both of my parents, even though my mom was going through it, she was going through it. Everybody's a better person here today, and I'm glad for it. But at 15, man, a sophomore in high school, I left the house and didn't know where I was gonna go. Just thinking I'm grown.
Where
I'm
did
gonna
you
get out there.
Nah,
I'm cool with talking about it. I ended up at first I ended up with my dad. And my dad ended up with a wife, and they moved, and you know they were trying to move me schools, and I really wasn't cool with that because one thing for sure everybody in my family knows about me, man, I love my friends. You know, my partners are partners that I've been knowing since I was like 5 years old.
Wow.
So I don't have too many friends like even that I met in college because I wasn't on that type of stuff when I got to college. Like the friends that I came in with, I'm still cool with to this day. I got partners from kindergarten, from second grade that I'm still cool with today.
That's beautiful too.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful thing. So, you know, that was one thing I never really wanted to turn my back on if I had the chance to. So at 15 and a half, my dad put me in driving school, and he was like, I'm not taking you back and forth to school, but I'll put you in driving school. So I was like, all right, cool. And he ended up giving me his car, and he was like, hey, man, you know, if you're going to come live with us, you got to move schools. If not, you know, kind of figure it out. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to figure it out. And I went and got me a job at Foot Locker because I figured after I was from where I'll never work in a warehouse again. Labor work wasn't for me. But I've always been a cool talker, you know what I mean? You know, walk into conversations pretty well. So I thought Foot Locker was dope, you know, and I was on the shoes at that time. Space Jams and stuff was coming out. I was making money on the side. I'm in high school at the time too, so it was all love. But then after leaving my dad's house, I moved in with one of my best friends from kindergarten, and it's so funny because like all of the racial and social injustices that's going on now, this was a white lady that I moved in with. My partner is black and white, but his dad wasn't around either. It was just his mom and his stepdad, and they welcomed me in like their own. And of course, we had our own struggles there as well. But you know, I never walk back on them memories, man. That made me to who I am today.
That's interesting. Why? It's amazing that your dad was like, figured out you're 15.
Yeah.
What do you think he saw in you? Most people, you can't do that, you know, to your kids, and they in their 20s, like they got it and they can just do their thing on their own. They need to be handheld.
Right.
What do you think that he saw in you?
I think it was a different day and time. You know what I mean? For one, I think God has blessed me to have my head on straight. Like I knew how far I could push my limits. I've never really been in trouble with the police, like talking about like, you know, I've had a couple of run-ins, but it's never been no jail time or nothing like that. Even if it was school, like I've been suspended a couple of times, but I knew like, oh, we're not going to the alternative school. We're not getting kicked out of school. You know what I mean? I've always knew how to push my limits, and my dad has always been one of them type of people that I'm gonna let you figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, because you seem to show me that you can make good decisions.
This is the first time I'm hearing that you did something bad and got kicked out of school.
Yeah, man.
Because I don't know nothing. All I know is the prestige. If I knew that, y'all wouldn't have had him on here. No, I'm just messing.
I ain't gonna lie. I was a knucklehead, you know what I mean, growing up. But we all were, you know what I'm saying? We was just having fun. So,
but you didn't get in all the... To me, as I look at you, your head seemed to have always been on straight, and you have seemed, in my eyes, that you didn't go the route that many people usually go, put in the situation that you were put into.
Absolutely. I think
drugs, a whole bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Baby.
We did that though. You know, I had time for that, you know, in high school. And when I figured that I wasn't going to college, I really didn't know what I was going to do after high school. My dad worked for the county, so I was going to go work in a park after high school. And one of my homies that I've been knowing him since the 6th grade, he was like, hey man, let's go to TSU. And I'm like, what's that? You know? Like, they didn't have HBCU recruiters coming to my high school. I went to school in Pasadena. You know what I mean? I went to Dobie, the same school Kiati went to.
Wow.
And they didn't have the black schools coming there. They had Texas State. And so I'm applying to Texas Tech, Texas State, UTSA, and I'm getting denied after denied after denied because my SAT, you know, I was a cool student. Like, I graduated top 20% in my class. But my standardized testing scores was, good. And that's one of them systematic issues that we have, you know, as colored. Man, I can't. It's hard for me to write a whole book in 40 minutes. You know, I can't do that. So, long story short, TSU was an open enrollment campus at that time.
You didn't know that much about TSU at all?
I didn't know nothing about nothing outside of them schools that I had applied for because they was
so it wasn't a part of your world or anything.
Nah, like man. Like I said, I was going work at the county. My partner was like, "Man, let's go to TSU." He never came. I ended up finishing.
Wow.
The first time my parents.
Did you know what you want to major in?
Nah. I got here as a math major because I figured I like basketball. You know, I played, so I figured like, why not be a math teacher and you know what I'm saying, and coach until you start taking the physics classes and the calculus classes in college, and I really realized like, nah, that's not what I want to do. And you know, I was a cool kid in high school. You know, I won best personality, class favorite, class clown.
I can see all that.
You know, stuff like
Every
that.
one of them.
And I was very fortunate, man. Like I befriended everybody. I was a part of the special needs organizations in high school. I was a part of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in high school. You know, I wanted to do everything that people were afraid to do. So if it was somebody that was being messed with or somebody that I saw that was, you know what I'm saying, not enjoying their time, I wanted to know why and how could I be of assistance to kind of turn the frown upside down. I've always been that type of person.
That's amazing. And you've learned all this on your own. Yeah. There was nobody really around to distill it. Or maybe the first 15 years there was some stuff put in you that, you know, maybe you don't even know that it was put into you.
Yeah. I give it to my mom and my dad. I'm not going to lie to you because it might not have been society's best way of creating a man, but it was their best way of doing it. Like, you know what I mean? My mom has always taught me, you're going to wash and cook your own food, wash your own clothes, iron your clothes, like that type of stuff, because I don't ever want you to rely on no woman for nothing. But now, and I also saw my dad doing that type of stuff for my mom when they were together. Like my parents divorced when I was in the 3rd grade. But I could vividly remember like how good of a person my dad was to my mom. So those type of values, you know what I mean?
You got early.
Thank God I was able to retain some of that stuff and, you know, look at I've always been able to look at the situation and kind of decide like, I'm not doing, like I had homies that want to be gangbangers and they, come on, Rich, come on, Harrison, let's jump down and jump. They had a clique called SFC. Come on, let's jump. Nah, I'm not going to do that, man. We can all, but everybody was cool with me, you know what I mean? Because they respected that. I can look them in their eye and I can be like, nah, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? We can go do some other stuff. But I ain't gonna fool with y'all on that right there. Y'all want to go to the movies and fight? Nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna stay home with some chicks and we gonna chill out and watch a movie. You know what I mean? Real talk.
And you still have the same personality, man. You still seem like you try to get along with everybody. Yeah. You try to take care of everybody. And like I said before, your balance is amazing to me because like you said, your homies are still your homies. You can find time to still spend time with your mom, still holler at your dad, your family. I think you have a brother, if I'm not mistaken, because he came to one of the functions that we had. I'm like, how do you do that? Man. I guess I'm trying to learn something from you.
Yeah. Honestly, my mom has always told me, even like as a kid, you always like you inconveniencing people. And I don't think she meant it in a bad way, but I would always try to find a way to do everything. You know what I mean? I would try to force her hand, even if she had other things going on, to help me accomplish doing all of these things. If it's being in all of these places at one time. I can remember working with WSS. I think that's probably where I first met you. There was one time
you had a whole bunch of questions there too.
Oh, man.
You always have a lot of questions.
Because I'm a fiend for information. Yeah. You know what I mean? Working for WSS, we had to work in Dallas one time. And I just could not understand why they wanted me to spend the night in Dallas. I fly for free. So I'm like, man, look, I'm going to shoot back home for the night and I'm going to fly back in the morning. As long as I'm here from 8 to 5, like I should be okay. Like our hours is 8 to 5. After 5 o'clock, I should be free to go about my business. Only reason why I wanted to do that is because we had an event for KTSU. This was the time I was trying to solidify my name for KTSU. So we got an event for KTSU and I'm trying to be there. You know what I mean? Right. I don't want to miss it. So I got on the plane from Dallas.
Wow.
Flew
came
here,
all the way. Wow.
Went to the basketball game. Went, seen my family. That next morning, caught the first flight out of Houston back to Dallas to be standing out in front of a flea market handing out flyers for WSS. Wow. You know what I mean? So, like, the grind, for me, it's always been about balance. Like you said earlier, we got to find a way to maximize our 24 hours. And I still think I can do a better job at it because what I'm finding now is that, like, I want to use some of those 24 hours for myself. You know, I want to be an entrepreneur, build a brand, and, you know, do things that I have on my heart to accomplish.
What can I ask you what that is? Because I know you're in school and you're in grad school, which I want to talk about your project that you're doing in grad school.
Okay.
But what's your ultimate plan?
Well, it's interesting, man, because, like, COVID threw a wrench in a lot of things. You know what I mean? So I think all of us have had to pivot in some sort of fashion. You know, radio has been my love since 2013, 14, 18 years old. I'm 27 now. I just made 27. So I'm going on about 9 years, you know, sounding like almost a seasoned vet. So I've interned from internet radio, through a lot of the commercial radio stations to the internship that I have now with Pandora and Sirius. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at first it was all about being on this microphone. and I've had a show here at KTSU as well for a short period of time before the Vibe came around. And it was always about being in front of the microphone. But for me, it was different. Like, I love music and stuff like that, but I fell in love with the community that this microphone can bring. You know what I mean? And how it can bring people together. I really fell in love with that.
Now, I did always love that aspect of this business.
It's dope. You know, a lot of people use it for different things.
Yeah.
A lot of people use this platform situation for
personal ego growth.
Right. For a lot of people, for personal ego growth. And I've never been one of those type of people, and I can kind of see through that type of stuff. But I can be around those people as well.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I can. I can be around them, and you know, however you make it home at the end of the night, man, and toot your own ego or your confidence, I'm cool with it. You know, as long as it ain't stopping me from me doing what I'm doing. But you know, I honestly like I said, it was all about the microphone, but building that student radio station, I learned some things. I learned job security in radio, which became super important when the pandemic happened. Like, who's to know, like, if I would have accepted an opportunity that was presented to me at a commercial radio station, if I would have a job right now. You know, and I just had a kid, like you may mention to earlier.
Yeah.
So all of that, like, God finds a way to order your steps in magical ways sometimes. And I'm not even like super spiritual, so
you never understand
how it's happening or why it's happening.
Yeah.
But pre-pandemic, you know, interning at all these radio stations and building that student radio station, like I said, I learned some things, and job security was one of them. So my footing was, I'm gonna learn everything about this operation. When I say the operation, radio, period. You know what I mean? From the production department to the traffic department to the programming department to the promotions department to the marketing department. I want to know everything about how this works, because when you come in and kick all the people off the air because nobody got money no more, or we going to syndicate this thing and get robots everywhere, Richh is going to be in the building because he knows how to work this board and how to make sure that the system is back up and running. And if this mug goes down, hey, we're going to call Richh to make sure that it comes back up, you know? So I found a cool spot in knowing those things. So I still do have, the question was, what are my goals? What is it that I want to do? You know, I definitely want to be on the air at some point in time. But radio, as long as I'm in this space, I'm happy. And
dude, okay, now if we have conversations about that, because, you know, my idea of what radio has changed.
Right.
You know, I don't think it's the business that it once was or going to be. And I think with the people who own it, they don't have the foresight to see where it needs to go because they're looking at the daily dollar and not looking at the future dollar.
Right.
And because of that, you know, visions can get misconstrued, if you will.
For sure.
So with all the things that you've been learning, what have you come up with? I guess my question is, do you think that is going to last? Was this a viable option for you to consider, seeing all the changes that have happened? And like you said, COVID made an immediate change to the industry, because the industry was already changing.
Yeah, it was.
But so many other industries were changing too. COVID changed all industries quickly. We learned that we can do, like for instance, for Vibe, I don't never see my jocks. I have full-time jocks that are never there because they just do their shows from their homes.
Right.
That's the world we live in now. You know, technology has taken us to this place. If you need to have a meeting, you know, if you don't do it through text, you can do it through Zoom.
Right. Hell, my internship is in New York and I'm here.
Exactly. Your internship, you work for this huge conglomerate.
Right.
And you ain't in NYC,
right?
So the game has changed, man, and you get to sneak behind the mirror, so to speak, or the curtain, and see how things are run. So, you know, 4 or 5 different people can be in different places all across the country and still be doing their show live, you know, and sound like they're in the same room.
That's true.
So is your perspective of the game still the same? Or has it changed now, and you say, okay, I got to pivot, I got to modify?
I think definitely had to pivot, and I think that's why I took the remote internship with Pandora and Sirius, because everything is in the digital space now. But I do have hope for radio becoming what it once was in the past. I think with everybody syndicating and with people being not in the studios, I really think that there's an opportunity.
There is an opportunity.
Now, I don't know if people will take advantage of the opportunity. Let me retrace my steps.
Yes.
But there is an opportunity that if you do some cool stuff,
you can.
Locally, and you're really in the community and you're really touching the people, I think you can win.
Absolutely.
Especially in a place like here. But are the people willing to take those chances or not, I don't know.
They're too big.
Right.
I think these corporations are way too big because they need today money because they have these loans on these businesses that they bought in the good old days that they still paying off. And so everybody needs money now.
Right.
And so it's hard when you got a bill to pay at the end of the month. It's hard to look at the future money.
I can believe it.
And I need today money.
I can believe it.
But there is a hole.
Yeah, and I think KTSU had a great opportunity to fill that hole, or they do a good job in continuing to be like a legacy station, where the people still have a voice. People can still call in and touch the people. You know what I mean? They're still out in the community. I think there's some things that can be done where KTSU
but that's
can
everywhere.
Really,
that's what the biggest radio stations in the world.
But being a public station like KTSU, I think
definitely things that can be. I think so. I think for everybody, there's things that can happen, and I'm not willing to sit here and to discuss that for a nominal fee. Any major radio stations out there, I am willing to give you some game to help you out, but I can't do it for free. But I do believe that there's some things that could happen, and here's the hint. Do things that you used to do. I'm talking about you have to hook up the old school with new school
talent
mythology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can do that, I think that you can have a winner, and most will not see the benefits or understand that.
Yeah.
Because there's a commitment that comes with that. So I don't know. I think, again, the game has changed.
Man. It has. And like, for me, like the pandemic has just, honestly, like it may sound cliche, but you put your priorities really in line. Things you really thought maybe were important may not be so important. Like going back to what you said, you chased your career your whole life. Something that I've never wanted to do was look up and be like, man, I've lived my life to work. I've lived my life to chase a career.
Don't get me wrong.
I feel you.
I've enjoyed a lot of.
You had a unique career too.
I missed people.
Right.
Really good people. And like I've been working with some of those people for 15 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know their first name.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
That's insane.
Because I would just walk, and it wasn't in disrespect to nothing. I was just so focused on, I got to make this cash.
Yeah.
And if the conversation wasn't about cash, I just didn't want to have the conversation. I didn't want to get into rumor mongering.
Yeah.
Sitting around with y'all just kicking, hanging around hours after the job is done. If the job is done, I'm gone. Unless you're telling me how, but you miss a lot. So that's why I know for a fact that's why I appreciate, and really with you, I'm just a watcher. And because what happens is, when you grow up a particular way, you can read people instantly. Like, I know who's against me. I know who's on my team. And that's another reason why, oftentimes it's to protect yourself. Yeah. So if you see somebody don't have good for you, why I'm going to sit there and conversate with you? Because you're conversating with me, then I know you're going to go back with somebody else so you can conversate about me.
I hear you.
And then you're going to do that and you just pass that over. I don't want to waste your time. I know that you're one of those types. Let me just let you figure out and make up what you want about me, and I don't care. And I'm just going to focus on this.
And get it done.
And get it done.
For sure.
So that's how I've been. But that's what I like about you. And you also do that, but you're better at playing it all out than I was. You knew, my game face was, if you saw it like, oh, okay, he don't cut for me, and then you would make up your reasons why.
Right.
You can't see it.
Right.
I love people like you because in my career, I've seen a couple of people like you. Now, those like you, I would pull to the side like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to get there. And all those people, they have gotten there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what this whole thing is about, though. You see these people, again, some people going to see this close to you and they might take this the wrong way. Like, hey, why is that person so special?
Yeah.
I just think some people, they are special.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? They're just on some different type of
She is naive. Yeah. Now, for sure, man. For sure.
I want to talk about in your master's program.
Okay.
You came up with your own 503. 503?
It's the 501(c)(3).
Okay,
one of them numbers and letters. One of them go first.
But you made your own foundation.
Yeah, it's where you solidify with the state.
And partly because that's where your heart is.
Yeah.
Other half is is for your graduating or your master's program. That's something that you have to do.
For sure.
But real quick, if you can explain what that program was about. I just thought it was so cool.
Yeah. So TSU, they have a degree plan. It's for professional communication. So basically, at the end of the 2 years, a year and a half, I think it is. If you go all the way through going full time, I think it's like a year and a half. At the end, you have to present to a committee a tangible medium. So basically, like, it could be a short documentary, it could be a book, it could be a magazine, it can be a podcast, it can be, but all along with this, you have to have the business part of it as well. So you have to go and get the actual LLC, DBA, or nonprofit. You got to go get the domains for the website. It has to be up and functioning. You have to put together like the budget sheets and what all you think is going to go into this and what all actually went into it. If you shot a documentary, you got to have like a shot list of all the equipment that was used and how much it cost and the personnel that you used and what, like, you got to have like look-sees and the day you're going to shoot and what that's going to look like. And so at the end, you're presenting this book, and everything that's in this book is called the lookbook. Everything that's in this lookbook is everything that they're about to see visually. So for me, I just took it a step further. I could have just did the short documentary, and I'll get into what the documentary is about in a second. I could have did the short documentary, but I just wanted to do a little more. So my heart is with the community. Like I said, if I could do that for the rest of my life and be well off, I would. But I did a nonprofit called Richh in Real Life. And so basically it's a play off of my name, and it's, again, what I define as being rich in real life. You know what I mean?
I like the way you came back full circle to where we started.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's nice.
No doubt. But yeah, so for me, it was the nonprofit, the website, and the short documentary. But the short documentary is a tool that supports what the nonprofit's mission is. So when I go into a meeting with an investor and he's saying, so what's your nonprofit trying to accomplish? Boom, here's a short documentary that can show you exactly what it is that we're trying to do. So to make a long story short, with the short documentary, it was an individual who lived here in Houston who had moved to Denver, and her father was homeless here in Houston. And so the nonprofit, Richh in Real Life, has two folds to it, homeless outreach and homeless rehabilitation, and troubled youth outreach and troubled youth rehabilitation. And so with this short documentary, we were specifically talking about the homeless rehabilitation. So when she posted on Instagram that her dad was homeless in Houston and she was trying to get some resources to him, I reached out. It was one of my brother's friends, and I told her what I was trying to accomplish with my master's project. And I was like, if I can get you to Houston and we can try to find your dad, would you be willing to do it all on camera? You know what I mean? And for me, we were going to use the nonprofit to go and garnish these resources to help rehabilitate this individual's life. Like, I had a housing situation set up due to one of the board members on my nonprofit. He was going to help me get this individual placed in housing. The city of Houston, we were going to get with them to kind of get some sort of like drug rehabilitation for the guy to really help him get off the streets. He had hooked him up with some homeless health care insurance, which is how he ended up getting the surgery that he needed, because he was jumped on the streets here in Houston while he was homeless. So the girl wanted to get some resources to him, and so I was like, let's do one better. Like, let's connect y'all. Y'all haven't seen each other in, I think she said 7 years.
Wow.
And she agreed. And so here I am. I've been in radio my whole career, you know, I'm just getting started. So I've been in radio this whole time, never really touched producing or having to hire people to run cameras or tell people where to go and shoot. So I'm just doing it like I seen it on TV. You know, I'm like, all right, hey, go over here. I want you to get this shot. And little did I know, man, we were really making something. So we flew her into town. We drive around the city of Houston in the morning. We go to 3 different locations. The first 2 locations, he's not there. We run across this lady who's a elderly lady, but she just so happens to be like a gatekeeper for the homeless people in her section of Houston. So like, these homeless people that are in this side of town go to her house for food sometimes. They help her clean up her house. Just so happened the lady knew the girl's dad. Her son was homeless as well. He has a drug addiction, and he really knows her dad. And he's like, oh yeah, I can help y'all find him. And so we're like, the lady invites us in her house, and we got the cameras, and we're all in this lady's house, and she's talking to us, this is in the middle of the pandemic too. So like, this is like just me having to get it done, you know what I mean? So we're all in this lady's house, and she's telling us how she has cultivated this homeless community and that she feeds them, and that the girl's dad had actually stayed at her house for like 3 days the month before and helped her win her first lawn what they give you like an award for having the best lawn
in the neighborhood.
lawn of the year, whatever, lawn of the month. And she was really excited about that, and she was just talking really highly about her dad. And although he had other issues, she really thought that he was a good person and could use some help. So her son agreed to help us locate her dad. So we go to another place, like an abandoned dance studio, and it's like a bunch of crazy stuff going on there. And so we leave there, and we end up going to this other house. They got some crazy stuff going on there. We got the cameras, and they wouldn't allow us to film. He was like, no cameras. So we stood at the end of the street and filmed, and little did we know, man, her dad comes like crawling out of the truck, and we get it on camera, like their first reuniting and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so long story short, they're both living now in Denver, living a healthy life, and I could accredit that to the nonprofit.
And being a student at the university who had the project that had to get done.
For sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So like that video will support what the nonprofit can do. And it's all
now
like,
somebody on here gonna be like, oh, can we see some of that? No, you can't, because in the end, I just want to throw that caveat
for sure.
that I knew that, as it went along, the girl was a little uncomfortable with this being documented.
For sure.
Because you don't know.
It brings back so much traumatic experiences for these people. You never know what these people been through. And I wasn't one that was going to push the
Because y'all
issue.
know I would show y'all. Because I saw the video, and it's incredible, man. What he's put together is incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But so I just want to explain.
Yeah, but eventually, Richh in real life will be up off of the ground with active kids that individuals will be able to support, and we're gonna do some changing lives in some kids' lives, man. I believe it for sure.
You might have already said what your purpose in business is, but hey, man, who am I? I'm just some old school dude who did some radio, jibber jabber on the radio for a couple of years. But sometimes people don't know that they're living what their best life is, so to speak. They don't know that they're in the mix right now doing it. What is going to take them through, because you're giving, you're compassionate, you and all that you love. But I know, I get it. You love music and you want to be around all that. But sometimes we find where we're supposed to be accidentally, like when you was talking about, you're not spiritual, but there was a spirit that moved you in a particular way to get that done. Because there's a reason, like out the blue, you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Why did it pop in your head? You don't know. Why did you? All these different things just happen.
Right.
It's ironic. It just happened the way it happened, and and like I said, I saw the video. It was perfect. It looked like something I would see on television.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a documentary. If it was a documentary on Netflix, I would have watched it.
I appreciate it.
Damn, Mr. Richh did that. All right, that was pretty good,
man. It surprised me, and I got to give a big shout out to the editors, man. They did they thing. They did that, man. But if I'm being honest with you, man, all of it's scary, man. And I think that's the best place to be.
That's
is in a scared position, because on the other side of that fear is exactly what you're looking for.
You're scared of what? I'm glad you said that.
I don't know. I just, every day I feel uneasy. I just feel uneasy, like, because nothing is promised, Like, there's no promise on none of this. Like, the career, the one thing that I have a promise on is my happiness and my peace. That's why I retain it so much.
Well, everything that I'm doing is about that, Richh.
Yeah.
I guess that's what, as I'm talking to you, keep in mind, as I talk to anybody these days, my purpose is finding happy. And when I notice people who are finding, like, I know, we have some other conversations.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people don't know they're in their happy. But I can see yours.
Yeah.
If around me, I was darkness. Not only am I dark, you could see it. All I ever wore was black. Like, all my friends, they knew it. Like, even Jimbo, when we was on the show, Jimbo had came up with this black rose. He was calling me Black Rose. And there was, because you can see it.
Yeah.
But when you see light, I'm one of those kind of people, I always tried to attach myself to light, though, because I knew there was so much darkness. Not because I'm doing bad things, but just where my brain, how it operates. You know what I'm saying, in that space. But I think you're surprisingly already in a place where you've already found it.
Yeah.
I think you're just doing all these other things, and they're going to just go to the wayside, and your true mission will come to you.
Yeah.
In time.
I believe that as well.
I think it will.
Yeah.
See, you know what? I thought we was going to talk about what was going on in the media now and all that. But your story was way more.
I appreciate it.
It was way more.
Yeah.
And then your story is still being told. See, people looking at you now about 10 years from now, they're going to be like, hey, man, I remember there was this dude that I had to talk to. Is that the dude over there that's, over there sitting across from Bill Gates
crazy,
and da-da-da-da? And
you never know.
You don't, but you do. You can kind of see greatness on your path.
I appreciate it.
And again, man, look, to the people that, this is not to say that, no, everybody is great. Everybody's beautiful.
For sure. Nah, for sure.
In their own way. So I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
Because I know that the jealousy is a real thing with people.
Nah, for real.
And I'm not one of those kind of people. I love to see people doing it, getting it, making it. Because that's just me.
Yes, sir.
And your grind and your struggle, your wins have nothing to do with me. Because nobody can stop me from getting to where I want to get
brother,
to.
Preach.
And I'm not trying to.
Nah, I feel you.
But sometimes people, somebody close to you may see this like, hey, you ain't nobody. Why had her talking to you?
You're right.
And there are people like that. And it's simply, folks, because I just think he's interesting. And he makes me feel good. He gives me a sense of happy. And wherever happiness is taking me, I'm personally going to go there.
For sure.
Because that's a spirit telling me that's where I need to be. And if it's telling me something otherwise, I don't want to be there. Nothing personal against nobody else.
No doubt.
But your spirit is good.
I appreciate it.
Your grind is incredible. Like I said before, you throw it all against the wall, and all 65 things stick and have substance.
It's about planting them seeds, man, for sure.
I'm a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
I got one trick. I played it for about 30 years.
I don't know. How you got a hit record, too.
Well, I got to look.
I don't know if you're
Shout
one trick
out to Slim Thug and Youngster. Paul Walker millionaire for being a part of the fifth.
Yeah.
I got a couple of lucky swings in there on some
I don't know about
that's
one
when
trick pony.
You close your eyes and they go out the ball. Oh, it really went. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Life is luck, too. It's preparation. Sure. It's being ready when the opportunity presents itself, and you're ready when the opportunity presents itself. That's what happened to me in my business. I had taken all the necessary steps, and the door had a little crack because for people as black as me, they don't have those kind of opportunities. Not only are you black, you black.
Right.
So when it was a little crack like that, I'm like, oh nah. Y'all done messed up and gave a brother.
I'm in there.
You let my 12, my 13s get in there.
Right. And the way you think.
Y'all done messed up now. I'm not gonna say the line that Jay-Z said, but I'm gonna get y'all for what y'all did to the coke.
Yeah.
That was my mission, and always to take care of mom. But when you see lights like you, man, I get giddy, man. I really do, man. Just to see you, man. It makes me giddy, man. So I just wish you the best, man.
I appreciate it.
This has been fun, man. I just want to sit down. This was a way we never sat down, had lunch, da-da-da-da-da. It gave me the opportunity to get to know you. And then the people who, halfway still kind of interested in me, gave them a chance like, oh, that guy Richh is cool. He a superstar, too.
I appreciate that, man.
He's a superstar in his life. He's a superstar to his family. He's a superstar to his friends. It. So keep just doing your superstar stuff. I'm gonna work for your nonprofit organization whenever y'all need me.
Hey, that sounds good, man. Definitely gonna need some sponsors at some point in time. So we'll be calling on the Mad Hatter Foundation.
We out there, man. We out there.
It's all about the kids, man. I worked with kids before I got into this radio thing. A couple of notable kids too. That girl Lele was one of the students that was in the little organization that we was at. Yeah, so I think it's dope to see what she's doing. It's just crazy.
She was talented though, man.
It's insane.
Some people just
they got it.
And you don't know how.
They got it.
Now, I give it her daddy now. Her daddy was a skillful young brother. Mama is incredible as well.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just get that kid that they know.
I mean, hey, it's crazy to see, man.
It is.
It's crazy to see.
Congratulations to her. She got a nice little TV show.
Yeah, man. It's all about the kids, man. We got to continue to support the youth, pour as much as we can into them because they are the future, man.
Give me 5 things. Give me 5 words to tell me who Richh is. For those that watch this and I still don't really know who he is. 5 words to tell me who he is.
I would say loyal, coachable, hungry, ambitious, goal-driven, positive. You know what I mean? Sociable, all of those bulls, man. Now, for real, though.
No, those were good.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it there.
And for anybody, man, just some words of wisdom, some words of advice to young folks trying to catch their footing in life, man.
Yeah. Don't live on nobody else's timeline. a lot of people will try to put you up against what somebody else is doing at your age or what they think that you should be doing at this point in time in your life. And I just think that it's super important to live your life for yourself. Like, I see a lot of people getting into arguments about things. Let's just talk about the vaccine, for instance. Mm-hmm. If people would just do what's best for them and their family, it won't be no arguing or going back and forth. So I just think, and that's just a small example, I just think that it's super important, though, to live your life for you and your family and just make the choices that best suit you and yourself. And you don't have to do no explaining to nobody about that. Protect your happiness, protect your peace, and stay focused on what it is. Put your best foot forward. Be honest with yourself. That's one of the biggest things. You got to be honest with yourself. When you're not putting that best foot forward, don't lie to yourself and say that you are, because there's people living them cap lifestyles right now, man, that it's just, I mean, it's inevitable.
Cap.
It's inevitable because of social media. You know, you can create yourself to be whoever it is that you want to be, but you got to be that in real life. Going back to what it is, you know what I mean? You got to be that in real life.
And that's no cap.
That's no cap, for sure. For sure.
Start a show calling That's No Cap.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of And That's No Cap with the Mad Hat.
Yeah.
My guest, Mr. Richh.
Yeah.
Look for him somewhere in a community near you doing big things. I appreciate you. And remember, folks, please, no capping.
No capping. PSA, public service announcement right there. Yeah. Nah, no doubt, man.
Say no to the cap.
Yeah, for sure.